All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is April 3rd. We got a bunch of MLB action on today's slate. We're coming off of a 3-2 winning positive night last night. The Guardians in extra innings come through in the clutch there and make it a profitable night for us. We've had 3 of the 4 MLB nights so far profitable in our favor. So, yeah, that's pretty damn good, guys. We're going to jump into each and every game. I'll give you my lean on the game and the total, but my final plays that I'm actually going to be rolling with will be in the pinned comment, and I do update that throughout the day, always by game time for the game. So make sure to check out that pinned comment throughout the day if you do want to know what I'm actually going to be rolling with. Let's go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Hit that like button because we've had 3 of the 4 MLB days thus far have been profitable for us. Let's go. Let's keep that streak going. Let's keep the momentum here. We're starting off with the Brewers taking on the Mets. Brewers minus 115 on the money line at home. Total right now at 8. I don't see much value in Brewers minus 1.5. I think this is going to be a fairly close game. I do like them on the money line here. I think you have some value there. And then in terms of a total, I don't hate the over here. Brewers coming off of a win yesterday, 9-5, scored 9 runs, finally got that offense going after playing Chicago, where they had 3 runs, and then 9 runs, sort of an explosion there. And the Mets, the last 2 games here, they've scored 6 runs and 5 runs. So I do like the over in this one. I also like Brewers on the money line. I think that there is some value there. Moving on, you got the White Sox taking on the Giants here. White Sox minus 125 on the money line here at home. Total sitting at 8.5. White Sox run line, plus 152. The San Francisco team obviously didn't look all that great against the Yankees. They did have that one good game, but then in the other 2 games, they scored 0 runs. So you can't really trust them. This White Sox team looking like the offense is going. They did lose 2 of the 4 to Houston there, but they scored 3, 4, and 6 runs there. I think this White Sox team just has a little bit more fire on the bat. So I'm going to lean White Sox money line here. And then in terms of a total 8.5, I'm going to go under because I don't think the San Francisco team has shown consistently that they can handle their part in and over. So I'm going to lean towards the under. Moving on, we got the Reds taking on the Cubs here. Reds plus 110 money line dogs here at home. Total is 8.5. The Chicago team was one of the teams that let us down yesterday. They lost to Milwaukee 9-5. We did have them money line. Cincinnati 2 wins in a row, but they were against Pittsburgh, which I don't put much faith in right now. They won 6-2 and then 3-1. I do still believe the Chicago Ball Club is a better team here. So I'm going to lean towards Chicago money line. That is minus 120. The run line is plus 137. So I don't necessarily get tempted by that. I think I'm going to stick to the money line. If we wait it out, we may get better odds too. This opened up at minus 125. Now it's minus 120. If it's moving in that direction, I do think we can wait it out and get a pretty good line there. In terms of a total, I'm going to look at the under here, 8.5. I don't think, again, this is very similar to the last game. I think this could be a one-sided affair when it comes to the scoring. We've already seen Chicago, even when they're winning games, right? 4-0, and then they lose 1-3. Then they scored 5 runs yesterday. So, they really haven't held their weight either. And I think that they're going to be the better team in this matchup and score more runs. So if they're going to be the better team, in my opinion, and score more runs, and I don't think they're going to score a bunch of runs, this is an absolute underplay. Moving on, we got the Marlins taking on the Twins here. Marlins plus 110 money line at home. Total right now at 7.5. Minnesota won all their games against Kansas City, but the low scoring for 2 of the 3. 2-0, 2-0, 7-4. Miami also very low scoring. So far they've scored 3 runs, 2 runs, 2 runs, and 1 run in their first series there against the Mets. I think that the best play here is probably the under. I don't necessarily have much of a play on a side. I guess I would look at Minnesota, but I don't really love the money line. If anything, I would go minus 1.5 on the run line and look at some serious plus money there at plus 140 as sort of a flyer and potentially, sort of a big winning payout. So my bigger play here is going to be the lean on the under 7.5, but I also don't mind Minnesota minus 1.5 points just because I think that the money and the odds are very good there, plus 140. All right, the Yankees taking on the Phillies here. Yankees 2-1 on the season. Phillies still looking for their first win. Yankees minus 177 on the money line. Total at 8 right now. And the run line odds are just not there for me, so I don't really love either side of this. Right now, Yankees would be the lean, and minus 1.5 here, plus 113 odds. Really not going to do it for me. I do think that this is a game in which, we do have a total of 8, which is I would say kind of a spot on total here. This Philly team, 7 runs, 3 runs, and 1 run. Scored Yankees 6, 5, and 5. Very, very, very close to that line. So unfortunately, this game I really am kind of, up in the air about. I don't have too much of a play. If anything, I guess I lean towards the over, but we haven't seen the consistency out of the Philly bats here. And New York's been obviously carrying their weight, but I'm going to lean New York on the run line and the over, but you can tell by the way I'm talking about both those plays, they're not really doing it for me, to be completely honest. Guys, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel as well. I'm trying to get to 25,000 subscribers, and you guys, I cannot thank you guys for the support as of late. It's absolutely mind-blowing. It makes me get up my voice is probably tough right now because the sun's not even fully out yet, and we're in an empty room now, so I can only imagine the audio quality right now. But yeah, you guys inspire me every single day to wake up early and get these going. I cannot thank you guys enough. So make sure you do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you are new. Let's keep the train on the tracks here. We got Washington taking on Tampa Bay. Washington plus 157 money line at home. Total right now at 8. The run line for Tampa Bay is minus 105. I'm not really liking that, but it's telling me that their money line lean could be a play in a parlay, something like that. They did sweep Detroit in their opening series there. Washington got the final win against Atlanta, but they didn't really look good. They lost 2-7, 1-7, and then finally squeaked one out 4-1 there yesterday. I think at this, again, Tampa Bay is obviously the better team in this one. I don't think there's value in their run line, and I don't really trust Washington. So if anything, for a side play here, I would be looking at Tampa Bay in some sort of a money line parlay. But what I do like is the over in this game. We've seen Tampa Bay be able to score 12 runs already this season. Washington not really carrying their weight, but we're only looking at 8 here. If Washington can get 2 to 3 runs, I do think Tampa Bay can put up 5 or 6 or 7, if they really get going and cash this over. All right, the Boston Red Sox taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates here. Red Sox minus 150 money line at home. Total all the way up at 9.5, which why wouldn't it be? I said it in yesterday's video. It's like this Red Sox team has scored 9 runs in every single game. Baltimore scored 10, 8, and 5 against them. Like, you got to be looking at Red Sox overs right now, but you certainly can be ignoring unders until further notice. So it kind of makes looking at these games fairly easy. Right now, yes, I slightly lean towards the over. I don't love a 9.5 total. That's a little bit too high for me, but it makes it pretty easy because I'm like, well, I'm not going to investigate the under. Not yet, at least. I need to see something that would even give me reason or probable cause to even consider an under, and we haven't seen that through the Red Sox yet. So yeah, I do lean over. Whether or not that becomes a final play, keep an eye on the pinned comment, but as of right now, I'm kind of blocking out unders from this Red Sox team. Pirates here, plus 139 on the money line, did kind of tempt me because I was looking at it saying, you know what, I think that this Red Sox team has shown that they're going to be playing in close games. These aren't blowout games or anything like that, but I don't necessarily think that money line is the play here. I'm going to go Red Sox money line. I think we're paying a little bit of juice. I totally get that, excuse me, but I don't think that, we can really look at the other side and truly validate that that is a smart lean. So I'm going to lean towards Red Sox money line and then a slight lean towards the over. All right, we got the Kansas City Royals taking on the Blue Jays. Royals still yet to win on the season. Blue Jays only won one last series as well against St. Louis here. I think it was opening day that they did win. Kansas City barely scoring 2. They have 2 of their 3 games scoreless right now. So I look at that total at 8.5, and I say that's a little bit too high for me. It's like 8.5 runs too high for me. So I immediately lean towards the under there. And I don't mind Kansas City at home here. I don't think this Blue Jay team has really wowed me yet. Yes, the Cardinals look good at times, so maybe it was their competition. Still too early in the season to really see where teams shake out, right? But I think I'm going to lean towards Kansas City. The money line right now, plus 124. It opened up at plus 115, so we're getting better odds here, too, as the time progresses. Whether that becomes a final play, definitely keep an eye on the pinned comment. I like the under more than anything in this game, but I think the value is on the Kansas City money line side of things. St. Louis taking on the Braves here. St. Louis 2-1 on the season, as are the Braves. Cardinals are plus 120 money line at home. Total sitting at 8 runs right now. Again, Atlanta had 2 of their 3 games look really looked dominant against Washington to start the season. And they had one little slip up yesterday where they lost 1-4 there. St. Louis catching the back half of their series, winning 2 games in a row, 4-1 and then 9-4. Offense finally started to come alive. The total here is 8. I am going to be looking at the over. Both these teams have shown in the majority of their games this season, so 2 out of 3 games this season, that they can score some serious runs. So I'm going to lean towards the over in this one. And then in terms of a money line pick, I think we're getting value at Atlanta here, minus 130. I think that that's plenty, of juice. I understand that, but I don't think that's far enough to not make it a play. So I'm going to be looking at Atlanta money line. All right, Rangers taking on the Orioles here. Texas, minus 130 money line here. Total is at 8.5. Similar to what I was saying about the Red Sox, I don't think there's any reason why you should be considering unders for this Baltimore team. And then you look at the team they're playing, Texas. They've only had 1 game in the single digits this season in terms of their runs scored. They scored 11 runs, 16 runs, and then, yeah, they come back down to earth and scored 2 runs yesterday. But I think that this is a decent overplay. Again, this is a little bit more value, right? So what I was scared about with the Red Sox is the 9.5 total. This is an 8.5 total. I could see this one going over, so that is my initial lean here. And then I'm going to lean Texas at home, just because this offense has looked too good. They swept Philly. Obviously, they kind of scrounged out a win yesterday, 2-1. Philly's not good. I get that, but scoring 11 runs, 16 runs, regardless of who's pitching against you, that is some firepower in the offense. So I'm going to lean towards Texas here at home money line and the over. All right, moving on, we got Houston taking on Detroit here. Houston minus 227 at home on the money line. That kind of throws it out the window for me. There's no money line value there. Their run line is minus 109, which also doesn't have much value for me. And then you look at the Detroit side. Their money line plus 1.5 is minus 111. So altogether, there's no real side value on Houston or Detroit for me here. If anything, and this is crazy that I'm even saying it, then maybe the only value that I can find is Detroit, a long shot in the dark, plus 205 on the money line. But geez, you think I'm going to take this Detroit team 0-3? They haven't really looked like they can even fully compete. They lost 4-0 and then 12-2 and then 5-1. They scored 3 runs in 3 games. In one of those games, they scored 2 runs. So that means they got shut out, like I said. And this Houston team, obviously, looked good for the first, I would say 2 out of the first 3 games, and they do drop their series tying game yesterday against the White Sox here. That is why I kind of look at the Detroit as the only side value here. Whether or not that becomes a final play, I would probably advise and tell you that it probably won't, but I do think that the only play that I can actually consider here would be the under. Now, I will say Houston has kind of carried their weight in terms of being able to contribute towards an under or an over, so that kind of goes against what I'm saying, but I really cannot put any eggs in the Detroit basket right now. So unless Houston's going to go out there and score 9 runs, I do like this play. All right, San Diego taking on Arizona here. San Diego minus 135 money line at home right now. Total is at 8.5. I do think that there's some value here in San Diego run line as well, plus 145. I think money line's a safer play, obviously, but I do think that they can get the bats going, kind of come alive. This Arizona team has only scored 2 runs, 1 run, and 2 run, whereas San Diego actually did pop off at least 1 game against Colorado, and they did cover the run line in 2 of their last 2 games as well. So I think that my play here is going to be San Diego run line. I do lean money line, obviously, if I'm leaning run line as well, but I'm gonna go San Diego run line. And in terms of a total 8.5, I might be crazy for doing it because Arizona hasn't scored anything and San Diego's only had 1 game of high scoring action, but I'm actually gonna lean towards the over here. I know it's a little crazy, but that is the way that I'm leaning. All right, moving on, we got Oakland taking on the Guardians, 2 underdogs that we hit night 1 and night 2 of the MLB season for like plus 194 and then plus 150 odds. So thank you to both these teams. The Guardians are 3-1 though this season. Athletics 1-2. They are plus 136 on the money line at home. Total right now at 7.5. I've been looking at this over and I really can't get myself to pull the trigger here. 7.5 seems super doable, but I am gonna lean towards the under in this one. And I'm also gonna look at Cleveland money line. Yes, minus 147 is some serious juice, but I really do trust this team as of right now. They've been making us some money. This Oakland team, yes, we won with them night 1, but that was on a kind of a fluke, and I had to admit that, right? They've scored Barely any runs, two runs, 1 run, and then 0 runs. We won that opening night with the 2-run game. They won 2-1, so I can't put too much weight into that. Whereas this Guardians team has been a little bit more consistent, and they showed a little grit and fight in that overtime extra innings game yesterday. So I'm gonna lean Cleveland here, and then also the under. It's a tough one, 7.5, but I'm gonna lean towards the under. I'm gonna use my brain instead of my heart. All right, Seattle taking on the Angels here. Mariners -138 money line at home. Total all the way down at 7 runs, which I guess it makes sense. We've seen this LA team actually have really good defense, and then the Mariners very consistent when it comes to the offensive side. I am going to lean towards the Angels. Actually, a plus money line on the road here. There's no value in the run line, -170 if you're getting the run. So I'm going to lean towards money line here. The Angels +128, and then in terms of a total. This is tough. I'm actually going to go towards the over because it is more money here. You're getting +110 odds on the over, so you know that it's not the favored pick to hit. But I do think that we've seen such inconsistency out of both of these offenses that, at any given moment, it could be like, boom, and then all of a sudden we hit an over. So that's not the most logical way to make a play, but I do think that there's some value there in the money, and that's what's cool about baseball. Taking big underdogs and whatnot and stuff like that. It's like, well, sometimes it just comes down to the true money and numbers game, right? Like, it's not about who's better, who's worse. It comes down to, okay, well, if you hit one money line that's a plus, 150, it kind of covers something else. That's at least the analytical way that I think of it. And this could be one for the Angels that I don't mind. All right, Dodgers taking on the Rockies here. Dodgers -240 at home. Total sitting at 8.5. My play here would be Dodgers run line. This Rockies team, we've given them too many chances. They're in the doghouse, so this is one where I'm going with my heart, an emotional play. I'm going to Dodgers to crush this Rockies team and say, hey, you know what? You lost to have some money the last 2 nights, Dodgers. You did win a bunch of money for them a couple nights back, but hey, what recency bias over here. Then in terms of a total 8.5, I don't hate the under here at all. The Dodgers have had 2 games where they score a bunch of runs. Rockies have been kind of consistent. I do think this game sticks probably right around like a 4-3 type game or 4-2 type game if we hit a run line too. So that is the way that I am going to lean. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. It is super early. Sorry if my voice is raspy, if the echo is terrible, you hear me sniffling because we're super early. But yeah, I wanted to get up here, grind for you guys, and put out a video. So hope you guys do enjoy that, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.